Using any digital audio workstation requires some basic understanding of musical terminology, especially regarding measurements relating to rhythm. For these videos, it doesn't mean that you have to know how to read sheet music or even know how to name notes or chords, although the notes and chords part I urge you to go and learn for your own benefit. What this means is that you should understand what a time signature is, what BPM means, what bars and beats are, what sixteenths, quarter notes, half notes, triplets, and all that jazz refer to. Why? Because when you're using a DAW, track settings, exports, effects configurations, synth programming, quantization, and a whole host of other important things will be measured, configured, or referred to in rhythm-related terminology, and I don't want you to be confused with any of that going forward. Besides, it's super easy, as you shall see. I'll only try to break down some important bits of information since I know that these text-heavy tutorials can get super dry. So let's get through them quick so we can get to messing around inside Ableton even sooner. So here we go. Here is time in the real world, measured in seconds. Let's say this is 60 seconds out of the real world, aka 1 minute. Here is 1 beat. Tempo, or BPM, beats per minute, is what decides how many of these we fit in a span of 60 seconds. Right now, this is 1 BPM. If this were 10 beats, our tempo would be 10 BPM. If I fit 120 beats, then, well, that would be 120 BPM, etc., etc. Quite obvious. Let's move on. Now you see this, 4/4. It belongs to what is known as a time signature, and for the sake of our tutorials, we'll stick to time signatures that all have a denominator value of 4. This is read as 4/4 time. A denominator of 4 means that 1 beat is measured in a quarter note's length. Don't get too confused. For now, just think of it this way. 4 on the bottom means the quarter note gets the beat. How about the numerator? Well, this numerator indicates something important of our latter point of interest. Bars. To no surprise, bars are composed of beats. A numerator of 4 means every 4 beats, or 4 quarter notes length, is equal to 1 bar. So here, inside Ableton, I just want you to observe this top left section over here that we have. As you can see, we have our BPM setting right over here. So right now it's set to 120 beats per minute. We have our time signature set right over here, and we have our metronome right over here. So if you're not sure what a metronome is, to sort of sum it up, you can use a metronome to just observe the division of bars and beats, and at the tempo that you've set to in your time signature. So it's a very useful tool. It's also very useful to leave it on when you're recording and you want to stay in rhythm. So let's just go over here to one of our empty MIDI tracks. Just gonna get rid of some of this extra information we don't need. I'm going to double click on one of the empty clip slots here on our MIDI track, and that's going to create a brand new MIDI clip for me. And what's cool is by default, this MIDI clip will be at the length of 1 bar, set to whatever time signature we have. So let's actually go in here. Now, since I have my metronome turned on, when I press play, I can actually observe what we've got going on. So let's just try it out. So that is 4/4 time at 120 BPM. And what's cool is, so we can just, we can adjust our beats per minute over here. So let's try 100 beats per minute. Play it again. And maybe try 80. Cool, so I'm gonna set it back to just 100 now. So now, what if we mess with our time signature? Let's set this to 3/4 time, and let's create a brand new clip. And in this clip, what we can see here is that if you can observe it, it only has 3 beats in it now, because it's created in 3/4 time. So if we press play, so it's like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. which is different from our previous 1, 2, 3, 4. So if a bar is 4 beats, then it can be said that a bar is 1 whole note's length long, or 2 half notes length, or 4 quarter notes, or 8 eighth notes, or 16 16th notes, or 32 32nd notes, etc., etc. And again, in 4/4 time, that means a beat is 1 quarter note's length, which is 4 16th notes length, which is 8 32nd notes length. I wonder if I'm saying that correctly. Probably not. So why are we going so deep? Well, that's because of this. You will see this set of 3 boxes all over Ableton, and they're very important. And that's because they are configured in bars, beats, and 16ths. You will also see these measurements all over Ableton. At this point, I'm sure you can infer what these measurements might be related to.